Welcome to Game Crunch, a weekly video game podcast. My name is Mike Anastasia. With me today, we got Brandon.
Hello.
We're here to talk about games and things.
Games and things.
What's on the agenda today? Games and things.
Games. I just got back from a vacation, the first one I've had in 10 years. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, so we got things to talk about. I feel like I had one more thing on my list to talk about, but I'll go first. Most of my stuff's kind of rehash and catch up.
I've got one new game that I played, but I'll
do you?
get to that when I get there. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Rhythm Heaven Groove, still awesome. I don't remember where I was on it when we talked about it last, but I've gotten a lot through this game so far now. I've at least finished every game that's there, and I've just been kind of going through and doing perfects. We talked about a lot of the unlockable stuff. They have like, I don't know what to call them, rainbow perfects, where you can get like 3 perfects in a row and get like a different perfect thing. They have night mode, which I still have not seen yet because I've not been good enough to unlock anything in night mode yet. But things that I did get to play a lot more of in the meantime. Actually, one thing that I thought was really cool before I talk more about other things with Rhythm Heaven. There's Rhythm Heaven always has had a lot of unlockable stuff. If you get perfects, you get kind of like little, I don't know, kind of like lore tidbits, I guess I would call it, or kind of whatever. This game, if you get perfects, you either get kind of like lore tidbits, you get comics, like developer details, like those kind of things. But one thing that they added in this game that I thought was really cool, so you can go through. Some of the other games didn't have it, so you could like listen to the music. This one has it. You don't have to do anything special to do it. Like, no, you don't have to get perfects or like high scores or anything like that. It's just it's available as you complete the games, which is nice. But one thing that I thought was cool was they have this thing where, so if you're listening to a song with lyrics, for example, you can see what the untranslated lyrics are. You can see what the translated lyrics are. And you can also see fake lyrics. And what I mean by that is, so like a song that's in Japanese, for example, it will give you English words that sound similar that you can kind of use instead, if that makes any sense. And I don't know of enough Japanese, but like you'll get like weird kind of things where it'll be like boy salad mustard sandwich, but it'll be like that's supposed to be like the what it would sound like if you were like similar English sounding words to what they're saying in Japanese, like kind of like misheard lyrics kind of thing. I thought it was really fun. It's nonsensical, but it was just kind of like a fun thing that they could add in, which I thought was neat. But anyways, the one thing that I did want to talk about with this was I did play a lot more of Beat Spell since last time, which is kind of their rhythm roguelike that they have in there. And I actually got to the point where you actually get kind of like the randomly generated like area to play in each time. That shit's fucking hard. I think you would like that a lot because it's far more roguelike than anything else in that game. Like once you get to that, I'm like, oh, this is it. It's got branching paths. It's got new spells that you never saw before. It has like abilities and items. And each of those kind of, change how things progress as you work your way towards the end. But yeah, Rhythm Heaven, it's great. Actually, this game actually interestingly, I actually bounced back and forth between this game I've surprisingly put a lot of time in on TV and handheld and on Switch 2 and Switch 1. Because I don't remember if I said this before. When I got the Switch 2, I moved my Switch 1 upstairs. So there'll be times where I'll just be laying in bed, like, oh, I don't feel like getting on. I'm like, oh, let me just pull Rhythm Heaven over onto this and play it for a little bit. It works really well handheld either way, any way you want to play, which is great. So it is excellent. I do like it a lot. So I definitely highly recommend it. I put already like 30 plus hours into it. So
that's
I'm
fucking nuts.
Yeah. I was looking at my times for some Switch 2 games. Well, I guess Switch games, just I guess more broadly. Because I was like, well, how much have I put time into things comparatively to say like Mario Kart World? Mario Kart World, I put 15 hours in. I actually think it's like one of my lowest played Switch 2 games. Like comparatively, like I put like 25 hours into Star Fox. Star Fox, a game I played like 10 billion times. I put 35 hours into Rhythm Heaven Groove, and I put 15 hours into Mario Kart World. I was actually surprised it was that high, if anything. But no, Groove is excellent. There's a lot going on there. I really enjoy the stuff that they do there. And I think even too, like going through the perfects, compared to a lot of the other games, like there's definitely songs in the other games where I'm like, I will never get perfect on this. I don't feel like that about any song in Groove. Like I actually feel like it's if I miss something, it's usually my issue with perfects and Rhythm Heaven games for the most part. It's not
Mhm.
that they're necessarily, excuse me, difficult, but it's because you have that three try limit before it cycles to something else.
Mhm.
That usually the first try is just like, okay, I got to get used to this game again. And then by the time you're on the second and third tries, it's like if you're not in the right mindset or whatever, it's much harder than it needs to be. But even the songs that I like initially struggled with very much when I started, I'm like, this is very doable.
Mhm.
So I do really like that. I did get to play too. I don't know if I said this. I played a bit more of the mini games for this one too. It
Mhm.
is so difficult with people who do not have rhythm. Like the game is like
Yeah, I would
virtually
probably fail.
impossible. I tried it again with another set of friends, like
Mhm.
um and like DJ and one of our friends, they were very good at like the rhythm, but the other friend was just no rhythm at all, and they just could not get it. And we just couldn't even get through the tutorial for some of them. And I was like, nope, we're done. But the cake game was fun. That was actually pretty enjoyable. So I don't know. That's Rhythm Heaven Groove. Actually, with the same friends, we actually pulled up Jackbox Party Pack 11, which I had not played really since it kind of came out. So it's kind of nice to get back into that again. There's definitely some good stuff in there, but there is a game because I know you play the Jackpot games from time to time. I don't know.
Yes.
I've never heard you talk about 11, so I don't know if you had any time with that.
I don't think
Uh,
I did play that one. So like I've mostly played like the I've played like Fibbage, like we've talked about
uh-huh.
before. I played like that murder party one that we've also talked about before. I
Yeah.
played a few of those. I don't know what lemon is that what you said?
Huh?
You
11?
said 11? No, did you
Yeah.
say 11 or lemon? What did you say?
11.
11. I don't know what 11 is.
Jackbox Party Pack 11? The 11th
Mm-hmm.
Jackbox Party
Yeah, no,
Pack?
I don't know what's in it is what I'm saying. Like
Oh.
I haven't played
So
more
there's 5
recent
games in it.
ones.
I'll talk to you about it a little bit. So
Yeah, sounds
there's
good.
Suspectives. I've actually not played this one yet, so I'm not sure. I've never had enough players
Did
to
it
play it.
just release?
No, it came out last fall. They actually announced
Oh, okay.
Jackbox Party Pack 12 already. That's how far
Oh
along
my
they
god.
are in this
Okay.
process. And they're making a Murder Trivia Party 3. It
Okay.
was supposed to be out this year, and it's not until next year now. So that
Mm,
sucks.
mm. Okay.
Because I love the Murder Trivia parties, but it looks really good. But anyways, this one, Suspectives, never played it. It's a deception game. Um, I'm interested to play it at some point, but I have not played it. Dominate, I remember we played last or one time and it seemed okay. I don't remember much about it at this point, but it was kind of funny from what I recall.
Mm.
Legends of Trivia, though, we did play this last time. It's kind of like a trivia RPG game. It works, but I don't. In terms of trivia games and Jackbox Party Pack, not my favorite. I'd much rather go to Murder Trivia Party. It's a lot more fun. But there's some interesting things in
That's
there,
the
like you.
RPG one, right? The one that like looks like it's like a role playing game as you're
Yeah, it
going through the
literally
trivia.
is. Like if
Yeah.
you get like a trivia thing right, then you do damage. If you get it wrong, you take damage. But it still has like an active turn style thing as well. So
Mm-hmm.
after a certain amount of questions, you're getting damage anyways. I don't know. It's kind of obtuse. It works, but like I said, in terms of the trivia games that are available at Jackbox, like not my favorite one, and I would probably play something else instead.
Mm.
Cookie House was their new like drawing game. That was
Yeah, I saw
fun.
that.
That one, and actually, graphically, it looks really good. Surprisingly, like, I was like, "Oh, these cookies look delicious." But yeah, basically, you get cookies, and they're just like, "I want something like this," and you kind of decorate it, and everyone's kind of deciding on there.
Mm-hmm.
But the one that was surprisingly like the standout from this batch um, was not what I expected, and it's a different type of Jackbox game, which I always find those are the most interesting ones where they kind of you know go outside the box. So it's called Hearsay, and basically what it does, it's kind of like Fibbage with sounds. I mean, not
Okay.
Fibbage, Quiplash with sounds,
Quiplash,
basically.
yeah.
So basically, it would be like, it was like one would be like, what's a sound a robot would like? So everyone kind of records their own sounds and it plays them, and then you vote on what everyone's favorite one is. But kind of the thing that they do at the end, which I think was really clever, is they take like a video clip and then they feed your sounds into it to kind of play
Oh,
out the
okay,
scene
that's
that's
kind of
there.
cool.
Yeah, I really liked it, and we were like hysterically dying laughing with it. I think it was one of the funniest Jackbox games I've had in a while. obviously Jackpot games, and I know we've talked about this in the past.
Hmm.
Even games that are bad can be good with the right group of people, and even good games can be bad with the wrong group of people. So it all kind of depends on who you have. But we definitely had the right group of people for Hearsay. It worked really well. We tried it again with another friend, and it was still funny. So I think that game is good. Um,
Nice.
yeah, we had a great time with it. I would play it again in a heartbeat. I think that one's excellent. I think that's the reason to kind of hang out with there again. Overall, though, I'm not a big fan of the trivia pack. This trivia pack. Otherwise, I honestly kind of wish that they had it so you could just kind of like they do on Steam, where it's like, hey, if you have all the games, you can just do a launcher and just kind of launch them like as needed. That would be kind of
Hmm.
nice. Um, but no, not there yet. So there's that. I guess though, speaking of, I might as well pull up Jackbox Party Pack 12 and pull that up. Then we can just talk about what's in there because they just announced it. Um, yeah. So, and this one, as opposed to a lot of the other ones, it doesn't have a sequel, to anything in there either. So, first one's Idle Factions. It says an action-packed battle of facts where two teams race to sort answers into the right categories. Um, we forgot a card. Oh, this one looks funny. It's like a greeting card game where you like make greeting cards that are ridiculous. It looks like a mix between like drawing and writing stuff. So I thought that was kind of funny. Debate and Switch is like a debating game. So there's that. Mega Pals. Uh, no fucking clue. We'll see when that one comes out. It says it's like a game to celebrate your friends and see how well connected you are. Okay, sure, whatever that means. Hyperface game where you can take selfies and use stock photos. Oh yeah, you warp them around. And it's like bizarre prompts, like when your face looks like you just seen a bear, and you can like basically you have tools like you do with like Mario 64. You're mashing Mario's face around, kind of the same idea. Uh, so it'll be interesting. I always enjoy these. They're fun for parties. So we'll kind of see what it's like when they're out. So there is that. The last thing that I remember that I wanted to talk about this week, Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. So I surprisingly, after I don't know when did this game come out, May. So we're like
Yeah.
2 months
Back in
later.
May. It's a while now.
Yeah. I finally like understand this game and really enjoy it now. They did actually have, I know I messaged you about this just before you went on your trip, but there's a demo out for this game now,
Yeah, I
finally.
saw that. I saw that. When
Yeah,
I
and
was, oh, we'll talk about that in a second. Go on.
oh, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say when I was on my trip, pretty much the only games I got to play were the
Uh-huh.
ones that Katie's cousins wanted to play when they came
Uh-huh.
by. So it was a lot of Fortnite and like Mario Kart and stuff like that. But we did
Oh
play
yeah.
Mario Kart quite a bit, so
Yeah.
that was fun.
That's always good. Um, but yeah, so I played a lot more Yoshi's in the Mysterious Book. I rolled credits on the game twice now. So
Okay.
I like for
Wait,
the
is there a
the main
reason to
game.
do it more than once?
Well, there's the main thing and there's like the bonus kind of thing, if that makes
Hmm.
sense. So you finish like the main game finishes up after like 6 worlds, and then there's like an unlockable world with kind of like some more I don't know what I would call it, story content, I guess. Uh and then once you finish that, you get credits again. So I did credits twice. Apparently to like complete this game, like if you were like a completionist, it's got a lot to do. Apparently 40 hours worth is what I had saw online. There's a lot. So really the game, like I think I described before, it's like a puzzle platformer, like think kind of like the Incredible Machine kind of thing in some
Hmm.
ways. Like you play as Yoshi, but each stage is focused on like a particular enemy or enemy type, and really you're trying to kind of figure out like I don't know what are they like. And some things are like, well, you Yoshi eats them and they'll be like, oh yeah, this enemy tastes like hair or whatever, and usually you have those kind of things. But then you also be like, oh, this enemy pops if you ground pound on them, or they melt if they're in water, or if they come in contact with this other enemy, this thing happens. So you're kind of exploring, like I don't know, almost like biology, kind of like you're researching them.
Hmm.
It's really clever and it's really interesting. And the game, I think I said this before, I was kind of off put from it initially because it was so different from what I expected.
Hmm.
But now that I've put time into it, I'm like, this is actually a really clever game, and I really like what's here. And I'm glad I kind of made myself go back and do it. Although I still generally like it in shorter bursts. Like I'll go through and maybe do like a stage or two and be like, I'm good for now, and then kind of move on and then come back to it later when I have, a little bit more time to kind of monkey around with it.
Hmm.
But some of the stages have some really, really, really clever things. going on. They use some really clever mechanics. Like one stage lets you do kind of like transformation stuff to kind of navigate around based on abilities that maybe some of the other enemies that you've encountered with in the past, or sometimes they'll even just hide enemies in the stages that have abilities that you can use to kind of interact between like different things that are
Okay.
there. So that's kind of it's kind of neat that the way that they do that and the way that they have things interact. It's like one big sandbox in each level, and it's a lot. It's very interesting, kind of the things that they have been able to do with it. So, I highly recommended this. I would say that the more I play with this, the more I enjoy of it, and I definitely think that it's worth trying. I don't know what the demo's like because I didn't have the opportunity to play that before the game came out, but um, definitely, if you like platformers and you're kinda interested in, like, puzzle platformer stuff, I think it's actually, like, a surprisingly cool game that I think is going under the radar for a lot of people. There's a lot to do in this game if you're one of those people who likes those kind of challenges. Because each stage, each enemy, you have to kinda like their own, like, chapter, and there's all sorts of things to unlock, and you do have a currency in the game that you can use to get hints to be like, "Hey, what else am I missing here?" But until you finish it, they'll kind of give you clues to be like, oh, what happens when this enemy gets dirty? And so they're like, well, is it there? And the thing is, too, it may not necessarily be in their main stage because you do encounter these enemies at different times later in the game. Like I said, sometimes they'll put them in levels, and so you can see
Hmm.
kind of how they interact. And even though you might be in the stage with, say, like, one type of enemy, you might get information on another type of enemy that you can discern from later. So I thought it was really cool. Kind of the things that they do. And even sometimes too, you'll go into a stage and be like, what type of enemy in this? And you'll find out, be like, oh, this is actually one you've already seen before, but it's a baby type of that enemy, or it's a gigantic version of that type of enemy. And so you kind of see how things kind of go as you progress. It's pretty cool. So I really like that. I'm really kind of done with the main content in that game at this point. It's really just more about kind of more unlocking things. So I don't foresee myself kind of coming back to it right away. Uh, at least in terms of the podcast, I'll probably play it intermittently as things go on. But very good. I'm sure I'll probably actually talk about it again later in the year as we get to game of the year stuff. But very enjoyable for the time being. So yeah. Otherwise, at least for now, that's all I have to talk about. What do you want to talk about?
Okay, so I went on a trip, and I want to talk about some of the gaming aspects of the trip from where I went and everything. So I went to Virginia Beach, and I was visiting with some of Katie's family.
Mhm.
Um, Here are some things that I also stopped by and did. So, for instance, I found this one shop in North Carolina that was a retro store. It was really cool. They had incredibly good prices. It was called HB Games, I think it was something, or BH Games. Let me find the exact fucking place name. Um,
Mhm.
um, eh, Hidden Block Games. That's what it's called. Hidden Block Games. So I went to a place called Hidden Block Games, which was a retro store that they had up there. It was really neat. I saw a shit ton of stuff that was there. I ended up actually buying some things because I'm trying to fill out my PS2 collection again. So I got the Hot Shots golf games, and for like less than $10 for both of the ones that were on PlayStation 2, and they were like fully complete with like book and all the all the papers and everything. So that was nice. And I also
Yeah.
bought Katie a PlayStation 3 game because we're trying to build back up the PlayStation 3 collection since Sony is shutting down the
Yeah.
store next year. And so I bought her one of her games that she has digitally, physically, which was the Rune Factory game, and it was like $25. Which is, from what I was seeing, a very good price for a complete copy of that game. So I got her Rune Factory and I got myself the Hot Shots golf games. But when I was there, I saw some really, really cool stuff. Like I saw the giant vinyl of Tetris Effect that was like $130, and it was like immaculate, like unopened. Basically, it was super neat. And I saw a bunch of other stuff there as well, like a bunch of like rare retro games, like the Safari, like photo game for PlayStation 3, and things like the Tokyo Jungle, which also is on PlayStation 3. They had a ton of stuff there that was super cool. But other than that, I also played my little RG Rotate while I was on the bus. Mostly just played Castlevania games. I've still been playing a lot of Castlevania. I played a
Yeah,
lot
you
of
did say you
Symphony of
wanted
the
to play
Night.
through all those.
Yeah, I did. I played a lot more Symphony of the Night on that little handheld, and it was great. It was a really fun time being able to just flip that open and play that, and then hop back over and listen to some music at the same time. Either way, it was great. It was a really, really fun time there. I did end up picking up something though when I got home on Steam, which is a new game that just came out, which we will definitely probably be talking about again later on in another
Mm-hmm.
episode. But it's called Dinsha Attack. Have you seen this game yet?
I don't think so. It sounds familiar.
So Dinsha Attack is a game where it's a mix of Jet Set Radio, and Tony Hawk, and you're grinding and doing tricks with a train that's on rails, and you're constantly having to jump from one rail to another and having to do like all these stunts and everything to keep a combo going and stuff. It's very silly. It's very over the top. It just came out, I believe, like 4 days ago, and it's a absolute fucking blast. Like,
Okay.
this is a new indie game that just released, and it is so good. It's so silly that it reminds me of like a weird PS2 game that you would just find, like Katamari or something like that, and then instantly it's like, oh, this is fucking awesome. It's cool. I highly recommend Dinsha Attack. This game is so sick. There's not really a lot to explain for it. It's just really goofy, silly, over the top fun. Like, it's very arcadey. Every single level you go into, there's like a certain number of things that you can get that are like hidden in different parts of the level that you have to get. There's like quest like don't crash and maintain your combo for a certain amount of time. You have like boss battles, you have really weird things like you grind on a Ferris wheel, but then you become part of the Ferris wheel, which allows you to do a whole bunch of tricks and destroy a bunch of like satellite dishes and stuff. And then like it's like, oh, destroy 10 satellite dishes now, and it's totally nonsense, but it's such fun nonsense that
Yeah,
I
I feel like
highly,
you've.
highly recommend it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
have
know.
you shown
I've
me this
shown
game
this. I
before?
shown this when it was a demo. The full game
That's what I
released just
thought.
4 days ago. Yeah,
Yeah, because I'm like that makes sense because I'm like looking at it, I'm like I'm sure I've seen this game before.
yeah. Full game's out now. If you like VTubers or YouTubers and stuff, they also have a bunch of collabs with them that are free. You just get the code off of the person's like social media stuff, and then you
Mhm.
input it like you would like a Konami code. The up, down, down, left, right, blah 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 blah, that sort of thing, in one of the main menus, and it unlocks their like graffiti that you can put on your train, and you can also use some people as oh goodness, announcers for the game. Some people, like, it'll change to that YouTuber's voice, and they did like uh they did announce, oh god, what is it? They did voiceover. There we go. They did voiceover. So like you go from having the normal voiceover of the game to them as like the conductor of the train talking to you while you're doing tricks and stuff. It's pretty cool. This game's sick, and I love it. And I highly recommend checking it out. It's on everything now, so it's not one of those things where it's like, oh, this is only on Steam and it's coming to console or anything later. No, it released on everything all at once, so you can check it out on anything that you have pretty much. It's on PlayStation, it's on Switch 2, it's on Xbox, it's on Steam, it's on everything. So yeah, check it out.
That's great. Yeah,
I do think that this also shot to like the top charts of games that have released this year, which is pretty fucking cool too. So happy about that for them.
yeah,
And it's just, it's
definitely.
inventive and it's very different while still doing things that other games have done, but doing it in its own way that does make it inventive and really cool and something that stands out from everything else.
Yeah, I mean, not every game needs to reinvent the wheel. There's lots of really good concepts
Mm-hmm.
that have been introduced in the games that really just have not been explored very much.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, even things like too, like going back to the roots of the podcast, like sanity effects. People can go
Yeah.
back and do that.
Well,
Um,
they can't actually.
Actually, they can. That copyright has
That copyright.
expired.
When did it expire?
I don't know. I just know that it has. I don't
I
remember
mean,
when.
okay, because
I want to say it's like
I
20
felt like
years
it
maybe, but
I felt like it still had a thing like 10 years ago. So that's why I thought, yeah, because I know when we first started, the copyright had not expired,
yeah, no, it's
and it
somewhere in
was
between. And I don't remember why it came
uh
up during that time, but I remember somewhere it was kind of something had gotten noted. Actually, maybe it was around the Powell World stuff.
mm.
And I think that maybe that's where I
So
saw
that's
it
only
again.
been the last 4 years then, because Power World's only been out for like
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, I saw that because someone pointed out, like, well, like, oh, Nintendo has a history of doing this because they're like the sanity effects, and they're like, well, yeah, the sanity effects thing though, it's already like expired. Like those kind of copyrights are not like long term.
mm.
Um, so yeah, like it was just kind of a temporary thing. It's already past the amount of time that it was, and then it's free to use. But
Mm.
it's one of those things. Like, yeah, there's opportunities to, but not everyone's necessarily going to take those, especially if it's not necessarily a game that you have to have a game that's kind of uniquely built around that to do it, I
Mm-hmm.
think. And I think it's one of those things that unless you're gonna deep dive into it, it's kind of tricky. And also even too, like this day and age,
The
like,
Amnesia games kind of did it, but like in their own way.
yeah, I feel like games kind of do it like here and there
Mm-hmm.
these days. But not like they used to. Like I want to say even too, like maybe Dead Space kind of had some moments of that where like when he's hallucinating.
Yeah, or just read the first letter of every single stage in the game, and then yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like things I don't know. But yeah, it really you kind of have to have a game that's kind of built around it if you want to do something like that, like really well. But I'm sure, like I said, there's kind of one-off examples, like you could just kind of mention, where it's like, yeah, they might do one thing here and there, but not really make it a concept of a game. But I mean, yeah, you could do something like that. That'd be pretty cool. Even the stuff too, like anything we talked about too, there really is not a lot of legs to stand on with the Pal World stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
And
game
Power World
mechanics
just
is hard
released
to.
into 1.0 a little bit
Yeah.
before I left, and
Mhm.
that game's apparently doing really, really well. So
Yeah, it sounds like it. Um,
I'm gonna go back and play that one because, oh yeah, it's like the number 2 game on Steam right now. That's kind of crazy.
yeah.
It's only being beaten out by one other thing, and it's the Steam machine. Oh yeah, do you have any other game stuff to talk about? Because I could hop over and talk about what I learned about the Steam machine real quick.
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
So what I learned, and what a lot of people are talking about online, is that the Steam machine, since it's gone live and been purchasable, has sold about 15K a week,
Uh-huh.
which sounds like a very low amount, but they only have the. Well, here's the other information. They only have the material to make 15,000 of them a week, and they're being sold as a raffle to people that signed up for them. So
Yeah.
every single week, they have sold out of their 15K allowed amount of Steam machines, which is pretty wild because honestly, I don't think after seeing all the specs and all the information on the Steam machine that it's worth the price in any way, shape, or form.
Uh-huh.
If you were like coming to PC for the first time, I don't think it's a good entry point and a good way to enter the PC space. But apparently, it's still doing numbers. It's still selling really, really well because
That's
they're
good.
sold out every single week, which is
Yeah.
crazy.
Although if we're only doing what, 15,000 a week, it's only been out what,
Um,
2 months?
the wait, hold on, let me check. When did Steam come out? June 29th. So not even a month yet.
Okay. So I mean we're talking maybe like 100,000 at most.
Yes, yes, yes. And
Okay.
also, you got to keep in mind we're in a shortage of parts, and Steam gets last dibs on being able to build these things because they're not a like major hardware manufacturer. So the fact
Honestly, if
that
anything, it's probably in their favor because of FOMO.
yeah,
Um,
I think that is a lot of it because, like I said, I don't see a reason to have a Steam machine. Like I was looking around and I saw a computer that is better than a Steam machine for like $899. So it's even cheaper than a Steam machine, and it's like okay,
actually a very topical news story.
mm-hmm.
Uh, quote, honestly, it's still getting worse. Unquote. Valve Steam machine engineer says component prices are still rising, potentially paving the way for a price increase.
That's insane.
Yep. Yes, it
At
is.
this point, anything that price increases, gaming is no longer a hobby that for like the normal person. It's definitely now become much more of a like what's the word I'm looking for? A privileged hobby, like much more privileged than normal to
Yeah.
even be in this hobby at this point with how expensive shit is. Because like if
Mhm.
something happens to my PS5, knock on wood, hopefully it doesn't. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. There's like no way I'm replacing it. It's just not possible.
Yeah. What was I say? Also, interestingly, what was it? I was, um, Steam machine. Oh no, there was news today because apparently Nintendo had made a comment on like the tariffs. I guess it was
Mm-hmm.
like the lawsuit that had gone against them, and they're like, "Yeah, we're not giving this money back." Uh, but interestingly, like the comments online have been surprisingly like supportive. They were
Mm-hmm.
like, "Yeah, they didn't increase the price of their systems." And they're like, this was results of the tariffs
Mm-hmm.
from the horrible administration and not Nintendo's fault.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they didn't just blanket, like they're like the prices on the Switch didn't even go up even with that. So
Yep.
they're like, I don't blame Nintendo for this. They're like, I blame Trump. And I was like, well, yeah, that's actually the right take on this one. I'm like surprised because usually the internet just so cutthroat with anything like that to find like a lot of people being reasonable. I was surprised.
Yeah.
Um,
The hatred for Nintendo can expand to someone else, which absolutely needs to at this point.
well, at this point in time, Nintendo is like, because all this shit going on with Sony and
Yeah.
Microsoft,
Yeah.
Nintendo's like the little angel.
Yeah, I mean they're assholes when it comes to certain things, but at this point in time, Nintendo is the safest bet to go with. If someone was like, "Hey, I want to get a console right now that's like a modern," I'd be like, "Just buy a Switch too, because you're going to be able to play things like your Resident Evils that just came out, your Pragmatas that just came out. It may not be the best quality, but like even the Series S is like $500 right now, and that's a stupid price."
Oh yeah, and like I said when we talked about the pricing stuff, oh, I guess it'd be last week.
Hmm.
Um, you know Nintendo at least, you know, you can tell that it's they're not taking this money to stick into the executives' pockets. They're paying their
Yeah.
employees well. They're treating their employees well. People go there to work for the rest of their lives and don't ever want to leave. Like that's all good stuff that
When was the
really
last time you heard anyone get laid off at Nintendo?
never, never. And actually, even to topically to that, there was a, I don't know why it cycled around this week, but I saw it brought up a lot of times. But there was a comment from Iwata back from, I think, like 2013, where he's talking about how laying off people basically, let me see if I can find it.
Destroys morale, right? That one?
Yeah, let me see
Yeah.
if I can find the actual quote because I was like, this is actually like so true.
Like
Uh,
Nintendo as a business, I don't particularly like the way they handle a lot of things,
mhm.
but like at this point, legitimately they are far better than any other of the consoles out there right now.
Yeah, it
Like,
says layoffs might offer better short-term financial results, but
mhm.
employees who fear that they may be laid off will never produce the same results.
Yeah.
So, true. Um, yeah, and like I said, there's definitely reasons that people, might not like Nintendo, for certain things. Like, yeah, they re-release their games a lot.
I don't
They're
even think
not.
that's the problem. I think it's just they do have a lot of anti-consumer practices. They have a lot of like if you were to, for instance, make a fan game and Nintendo gets a whiff of it, they're literally going to kill you. Like we've gotten to that point at this.
Um, yes and no. Like the ones that we talk about, the ones that always talk up the news, and I think we talked about this when there was a Pokemon one that
Hmm.
happened with us. But it really is like for every one that you hear those stories about, there's like 20 more that they don't do it with. The ones
Not
that they
right away.
usually go
I think
after,
the ones I've seen that are like the most important ones, like the best made ones, will always have always gotten shut down. There's a
but it's
few I
usually
know of right now that still
Mhm.
exist at this point in time that are popular, but like people talk about them on the hush hush because they don't want them to be shut down.
Well, yeah, and that's fair too. And but the thing is, Nintendo, because of their trademarks, they do have an obligation to do that. But the ones that they generally go after are the ones who are like really crossing that line. Like the ones that are like, hey, you want to play this, Pokemon fan made Pokemon game? well, join my Patreon and you'll get free access to it. Like a lot of them really do like stupid things that draw attention
I
to
do
it.
agree that there are some that do that, but I remember like the Metroid 2 remake that was being made.
Yeah, the one that was literally plastered on every single
Yep.
website, including
Yep.
IGN.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
no wonder
They
that
didn't
one got shut down.
they didn't do the Patreon thing. They didn't ask for money though. That one was just
They
because
didn't do
people
Patreon.
spoke about it.
Yeah.
And Nintendo was like, people like this. We have to get rid of it because we want to remake it for 3DS. That was literally what that one was.
Yeah,
That was
and that's a legitimate reason to do it. They had an absolute like you have fans remaking a game that's literally being advertised on websites while
yeah.
they're actively making their own remake of the same game. Like you have to you can't ignore that one. Like that one had to get addressed. Because that creates that because like I said, they're part of their obligation for the trademarks. If they want to keep them, they have to defend them. So if they let that go with all that stuff, then they basically are just like forfeiting their trademark. Because if anyone else does it, they'll be like, well then why didn't you do the same thing with this other one? So it's usually it's like as long as they're under the radar, they usually don't do anything. Like I said it's most of the time when you see them, it's usually like you can point to a moment where you're like, yep, this is where they crossed the line. Um, I
If I
think
remember correctly, the Metroid one I pointed out got nominated for a Game of the Year nomination also.
yes, yeah, exactly, yeah, they
It
did.
was just people yapping. They couldn't keep their big mouth fucking shut so that we could have a nice thing.
No, exactly. But Game Explain did a video on it where they talked about kind of I think it was specifically about Pokemon. Not Game Explain. Fuck them. Did you know gaming? That's what I mean.
I like Did You Know Gaming. I leave
Yeah,
them on in the background and fall asleep to them
yeah. Did
sometimes.
you know gaming's great? And I've done the same thing in the past too. But they did a great introspective to basically look into those Pokemon fan made games and
I
kind
think
of
I
like
literally watched this video you're talking about.
yeah, probably. I think it came out maybe like a year ago.
Hmm.
But it was really interesting. They kind of talked about like, hey, this is the fan game. This is the reasons it was probably addressed. And it usually was one of two things. It was either one, they crossed that line and it was getting too much publicity.
Yeah.
Well, actually I would say three things.
Well, like
Cross the line.
if something's getting too much publicity, right? You listening?
Yeah.
My thoughts are like you just make a better product to overshadow it. That's what you do instead of shutting down someone else's creativity. Now, in the case of something doing like a remake, like someone stole your IP, did a remake of it, that sort of thing. Yeah, okay, I kind of get that. But if it's like a completely new game, like I remember one in the Game Explained thing where it was a completely different game. They made their own version of Pokemon. They made their own Pokemon. They made their own everything, and they made like a whole like their whole engine and everything. And this person that did it, and this was part of the Game Explained video, and it was one of the few that Game Explained couldn't like give a reason for why Nintendo went after it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you like look at what they were saying and what they were showing and everything, the person did it by the books, and it literally felt just like Nintendo went after it due to like jealousy, like more or less. That is the reason why they get more attention than us. They did something more unique than what we've been doing with the IP. They made it their own sort of thing. We can't have that. We
I
don't
mean, I
want
think the
them to
best
have that
example
sort
of
of
with
thing.
that it would be
And I
like
can't remember
Pal
what
World.
game it was, but yeah. No, I mean, yeah, they definitely did that with Power World. And Power World is 100% its own thing.
Yeah,
And
and really,
yeah.
what drew their attention to it was when someone made that Pokemon mod, and that's kind of what was like, hey, look at this, like it's very similar.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, you get those, but I mean, really, it's kind of like how do I put it? Like, if you do get kind of into those things, like there's also the opportunity to be like, hey, I have this really cool thing that I've been doing. Like, why don't I just get rid of the content that they have a concern about, and just kind of finish it up with the rest on my own. You always get
And I
that
remember
possibility.
that
So.
was also brought up in one of these Game Explained videos. Not Game Explained, sorry. Did You Know Gaming videos. And the person wanted to do that, but they
Mhm.
had their entire website and like all of their information and stuff seized by Nintendo before they could do anything like that. So they literally had to quit, and they had lawyers at the door the next day, and it was like, you shut this down. Don't ever do anything with it again. Don't change it to make it something else. Just hand it over to us, and leave without saying anything, or we will sue you into oblivion. And they were like, but I did like everything on my own and everything. And like, I believe the thing that Did You Know Gaming came up with was just like, yeah, you can't really blame them. And I'm sitting here like, actually you can, because like this person did like their own thing with it. They it was kind of like a case of like Power World, where with Power World they went after them with like lawyers and everything. But this was just some dude, so he couldn't defend against the lawyers, so he just had to give everything over. And I do think that with what Power World did, that we probably won't see another case like that, because Nintendo kind of got bitch slapped by Power World, to be completely honest, in that lawsuit. So I don't see them trying to go as aggressive as they did with Power World with something like that again.
Yeah, and like I said, it's really kind of, they have to, in some cases, I think with those things, because they're defending their trademarks, like I think, like I said, they really just have to kind of show that they do it. They don't necessarily need to go like wildly aggressive, but it depends. And I think
they went overly aggressive with this guy in this case. I remember it specifically.
Yeah, I don't know which one it is. I believe you. I'm sure there are definitely some examples of that. But like I said, there's plenty of examples too where you could be like, oh, you know, this person, they shut this one down because they wanted to do, they were charging people on Patreon, or they were doing things that obviously were crossing the line.
Those I get. But there, this one
like,
specific
here's Breath
example
of the Wild with multiplayer.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, I mean, all interesting concepts and all definitely interesting things.
I also do not like Nintendo's stance on emulation. Obviously, I really think it's stupid. Like I get that. Okay, that is your property and everything, but if someone can like actually rip the game themselves and it's their own original copy that they had, and then they can use an emulator, I don't think you should be allowed to go after the thing that allows people to do that if it doesn't have your original code in it, which they have done before.
I'm pretty sure every time that they've done that, because I know we've talked about those before, and there were some that were suspicious for that, but I think they all did come back to, well, one was code.
Yep, that one was, they were sharing code and games that they shouldn't have been on their Discord server, and that was a valid reason. But the actual, like, but that's a thing that I don't know if like the actual, like the one that the public saw versus the one that was being shared in someone's Discord. I think that the one that the public saw, which wasn't that, shouldn't have been fucked with. That's my opinion on that. Now, obviously, the people like that were doing the thing in the Discord, yeah, go after them if that's what you need to do. Okay, fine. But like, the public didn't have that extra stolen code, didn't have those games that were being given to them for free via a Discord share back and forth between some people that were doing it. And then, like, even after the code was taken out and a fork was made of it on, why can I never remember the name of that site? GitHub. They went after every single fork that people made, where people did their own thing with the code removed, and like did their own. They kept going after all of those forks that people were making and shutting them down, which didn't have anything to do with the original people. So like, I think that again, that's where they get really hyper aggressive with some things. That's just my
but I mean, I think Nintendo's official stance on emulation is they've
literally said it's illegal, which it is not.
No, they've not said it's illegal. They said they're okay with emulators, and they said they're okay with emulation of games, but not just distribution of emulation games. Like if you're doing it the way, so because let's be honest, Brandon, about emulation.
Yep.
Fact of the matter is, most people do not do exactly what you're describing.
Yep.
Most people get an emulator, and most people download emulated games. Most people are not making copies of their own games when they do it, and that's generally what the issue is there. Like they'll go over sites that distribute things, and they'll go after emulators kind of in those cases, either if they're using source code or reverse engineering things that they should not be able to reverse engineer normally. Like those kind of things they'll go after. And like I said, generally when people bring themselves like attention, be like, oh yeah, come on my Discord and get all these free games. Like that's just bullshit. But I mean, like you think about things like, I don't know, like Nesticle or whatever. I don't even know what NES emulator people use these days. Like that shit's been around forever. It's very public. Like everyone knows of its existence. You don't see them like going to take down like a lot of those more retro emulators. Like they've been around for a long time. They've just been kind of growing on for there. Or like what was the one for?
Well, I'm not going to say anything, but I will say that Okay, I'm not going to go too deep into this, but I
No,
will
I don't
say
want to go too far
you
to it.
you
But
are wrong about them not going after retro emulators, because I will tell you right now, me with my little RG rotate over here,
Mhm.
I realized when I was going to like set up the emulators and everything that a lot have been taken down by Nintendo, and there have been others that have been made to replace them, but a lot have been taken down by Nintendo. Like just straight up, they are gone. They've been wiped off the face of the internet, and that's some of the N64, not the GameCube. Dolphin still exists somehow. I have no idea. Um, what's the other one? There was a Super Nintendo one that was like the main Super Nintendo one, and now there's other ones. But most of the ones that were like standardized Super Nintendo, N64, GameCube ones, those are just easier to play now through something like Emulation Station, or as it's called, RetroArch. Those two are just, it's just easier to play those retro ones through there, because it's kind of difficult to go after that, which is just a launcher with a lot of different things inside of it, so they can't
Mhm.
really take that one down. So I fell back onto no longer doing um individual emulators and just use RetroArch for like the older stuff, like
Mhm.
Super Nintendo, NES, Game Boy Color, that sort of thing, because a lot of them have been taken down by Nintendo, and I do think you are actually like, it's not that you're like saying something that like incorrect on purpose, and you just don't know because you probably haven't interacted with them. But there was a scorched earth like event once the Power World thing started, where Nintendo, in order to cover their asses and try to win this Power World thing as much as possible, they just went scorched earth on any kind of emulation thing that they possibly could. And I will say, Sony, for the original PlayStation, kind of did the same thing. It's still
Huh?
really easy to get PS2 stuff, but some of the original PlayStation stuff, as well as especially PS3, which that emulator isn't even like that good right now, because it's still really difficult to reverse engineer the cell processor and whatnot with an emulation. And those two have also been kind of taking a hit, but they're forks of those that have been produced that make it trivial that those got wiped out in the first place. But Nintendo just kind of boom, like carpet bombed the entire place of emulation to get rid of as many things as possible.
Mhm.
And when I looked into all the stuff, it started happening 2024 and early 2025. So
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there's probably a lot more because I really don't follow that much on there.
like I said,
But
I didn't
I've never had
until I went to
difficulty
set up
finding
my
them.
my
Yeah.
my RG rotate, and I was like, oh, okay. I do believe it has stuff to do with Apple too, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah. I mean, I
That's
could
it.
definitely see a lot of the Switch ones got shut down.
Oh yeah, those absolutely did. But I think some of the long-standing individual ones for consoles did as well, because like there's new ones that have taken over, and other ones have had to like stop development, and
Yeah.
they all stopped or were shut down in late 2024, early 2025. So like when they went after the Switch ones, they were like, all right, let's bomb these also while we're here. Essentially.
Maybe they just went after GitHub and just got everything on there that they could.
I wouldn't be surprised. I honestly would not. That would make the most sense, to be honest.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, because there's the Yuzu one, which we already knew that.
Yep, yep. They got rid of the 3DS one, the Citra. They like destroyed that. They got rid of the DS ones. They destroyed those. Some of them, like other more well-known, like Mupen 64, got just destroyed. But that got picked back up by some people. But
Hmm.
yeah, there's a lot of them. But again, like I said, that is a whole nother rabbit hole to go down that I really don't want to right now, because I would have a lot to talk about with that.
Yeah. Yeah, we can say that for another debate at some point.
hmm
But anyways, what else to talk about for you?
Um, other than other than what we were just talking about, I really don't see that much. I see that Sony's still being dumb and ignoring everything, and
Hmm.
that several people are now saying like that, hey, this was inevitable. They basically what I said the other week, which was you don't make the announcement and then shut down a bunch of factories overnight for something you plan to do in 2028. This has been like meticulously planned, and they just needed some way to, like, some excuse to be able to push it forward as fast as possible. That sort of
Yeah,
thing.
you don't just randomly make that decision like on a whim. Like it was planned, and especially too, like I said, they've already decided that they're repurposing the factory, so they know what they're
factories
doing.
for micro lenses. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what ends up coming out on that side of things.
I do see a lot of people have lost interest in PlayStation due to that. Like, some of their digital sales, aside from the very obvious one that got shadow dropped, which was Call of Duty, have been down significantly since the announcement. And they've also been down in selling consoles just in general, with Switch 2 kind of going ahead of them month after month right now. But they had also already been stagnant with the PS5, and then when you couple that together with a price increase, there's no real way to tell if it's because of the announcement of getting rid of physical or if it's because of something else. But yeah, so there's that. Other than that, we did loosely talk about the PlayStation 3 store and Vita store, which is being shut down next year. That fucking sucks. That's also not doing so well for them. And apparently, Norway, I think it is looking to, or they currently have a lawsuit out against Sony for the attempt at a monopoly, which they would have on digital games if they do go through with what is currently their plan. It would actually give them a monopoly on the digital game marketplace. And that, well, monopolies aren't okay, as we found out when Sony tried to fight Xbox's monopoly. So people started going after Sony right now for the presumed monopoly that could be coming up once they do away with physical games, because of the fact that they would have 100% control over the digital rights of games, and people wouldn't be able to share or like resell their games or that sort of thing. And also because of the fact that all of the funds, even if they were to put a digital game into like a Walmart or Target, would just go directly to Sony. So all those other places aren't seeing any profits from it, and it would be 100% funds going to Sony and no one else. So if they go through with this sort of thing, they would essentially have a monopoly on the games industry, since they are already the head of the pack, since they will be the only way you can purchase the games that they are selling, and since they can decide what the prices are going to be for each individual person because of their new dynamic pricing scheme that they came up with. So I don't know if this is going to go anywhere, but if it is any consolation, the people that are suing them are the same people that sued Blizzard for loot boxes and ended up getting having that actually go somewhere. So it is entirely possible that these people actually know what they're doing, and the lawsuit will actually cause something to happen. But we'll see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what ends up happening with that. I don't foresee it, like, really, I don't think they can make Sony, like, continue production of physical games.
No, but maybe they can have some
might be able to fix some
digital
stuff
rights in place for like users, like, because
Mm-hmm.
at this point Sony's not going to do. They're not going to do physical games. We already know that. They're not going to do it. But maybe they could do something like Nintendo has, which I talked with you earlier about, like having the ability to share games through the game cart, even the digital game cart option that you have, where you just have two accounts logged into your Switch 2, or on your Switch 2, or more accounts on your Switch 2, and then the game carts can be shared between all of them that those people own. And that's like what me and Katie do with our games. Like, I'll send my game over to her, she'll send one of her games over to me, I'll play her game, she'll play my game, then send it back. And if they have something in place like that for the PS6 and whatever else, then that might be at least some form of like control that the users can have over their digital library, which would be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so hopefully they get something going.
Not only that, but they need something in place for people's accounts, because like we recently saw that someone's like 20 24-year-old Xbox account got hacked, and they lost everything they ever owned because of it. And it wasn't like a case of like they lost it because it was stolen by the hacker. It was a case that when Microsoft found out about the hack, they deleted the entire account to like take care of the hacker or something to this.
Well, no, it
something
wasn't
to this
quite
effect.
that.
It's something to this effect. The
Basically,
account got deleted somehow.
Didn't get deleted.
Okay.
So basically, what happened was the account was hacked. I don't know if the user or Microsoft was aware of it, but somehow it was noticed. But instead of giving access back to the person it belonged to, they're like, nope, we're just going to encrypt it so nobody can ever get into this again. And they're like, even our engineers can't do it. But then that's what they said to the guy. But then as soon as this story made headlines, they're like, oh, well, maybe we can fix this. And then they went through and did. But it was very strange. Like, that was just assholery of them.
Yeah,
because really obviously it was not locked. Obviously they lied to that guy. They got him back his account now after it became a big deal. So yeah, definitely shitty all around, and definitely a good example of why people need more digital rights protections. And there should be. I mean, really, it should be like if you died, for example, like your game shouldn't just be like, oh well, Brandon's dead, gone. Like, what about the other people that are on your account, like Katie or your brother or your friends? Like, why does this stuff instantly just get deleted forever just because of that? Like, where's the rights, where are the protections on these kind of things? And that's what I hope that kind of eventually comes out of this. That would be the way that things should be. These things should be able to be gifted or kept for I don't know, preservation or usage or family stuff, like even to
there's to be something,
yeah, exactly. It should not just be like, well, that's it, that's the end of the road, rebuy thing. I think even too, like in that guy's case, one Xbox, when they shut down, not only did he lose access to his pictures that were on his drive or whatever, but he also lost access to his games, and they're just like, oh, just rebuy it. Like, well, no, asshole, you can see that I bought this, you can see I'm locked out of my account. Like, why couldn't you even just give them access, like a new account, and give them access to the games? Like that, not that should have been the right answer, but like, fuck that as an answer. Be like, well, you have to rebuy everything now too. On top of it, we know it was stolen. We can see it. We know that obviously you're not the person, but no, fuck you. I don't know. I don't get it. Makes no sense.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah. So hopefully, I have a feeling things are starting to reach ahead, especially like in Europe. And they have much better protections over there, so I feel like
they do,
will eventually
because
come
like
out of
the stop killing games thing essentially did go through in Europe.
It did go through, but then they're like, we're going to disregard this anyways. But it sounds like people are still fighting it, so we'll see. Hopefully that ends up coming with something too.
Yep.
But yeah. Anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think that's going to be it for me. I think I've said enough babbling.
Okay.
Yapping.
All right. Well, then, on that note, thank you, everyone, for listening to us tonight. Don't forget to find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google, Amazon, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. All of our episodes are available on game-crunch.com. If you want to reach out to us, send us email at gamecrunchcast@gmail.com. Brandon.
Yep.
Any final thoughts?
Nope. I think I'm good here.
Okay. Well, that said, my name is Mike Anastasia. Find me online on Clash of Penguin there or on your favorite gaming console. Until next week, game on.
Game on. I'm like bus lag right now. Like still, like my god, I'm still fucked. 16 hours for a bus ride was kind of hell.
Oh yeah, that's a lot.
Since it was between one day and another. So I got there. I left on Saturday night, and I arrived like Sunday morning slash afternoonish. So I was just kind of like, okay, I'm fucking dead right now. So then I rest Sunday, and then I got up on Monday, and we had to go do an appointment for Katie. And then now we're here on Tuesday, and I'm like, oh my god, I feel like shit. I'm so tired.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, buses are draining. I
Mm-hmm.
feel you. Honestly, just travel in general is draining. It's
I
fun, but
didn't.
it's like it's a lot of work to get there and a lot of work to get back.
Yeah, I didn't even feel that bad. Like getting there, it
Hmm.
felt pretty easy to be honest. And then the travel back was just hell.